He's a phenomenal wrestler, but even to his own admission, he just wants to slug it out with people, make it exciting. While that's good for making the fans entertained, you got to guarantee yourself some wins, and he did that in this fight. You know, it was a close fight standing, but when he needed to do it, he put Bart on the mat, and that's what gave him the decision.
Yeah, I like the fact that he finally went back to his roots, which is his wrestling background. He is a high-level, international-level wrestler. And he showed, I think, a more refined striking game as well. He wasn't just winging strikes out there. His leg kicks looked pretty sharp. His punching looked a little bit more refined. And it was all-around very good performance for Kamal Shalarus.
Well, you see the numbers, FightMetric.com, virtually identical in terms of the significant strikes thrown. Shalarus, though, winning the fight by virtue of those takedown attempts, couple of guard passes as well. So Shalarus remains undefeated. All right, now we'll get you some other prelim results from WEC 53. Shane Roller, the submission of the night, his first round rear naked choke of the former champion Jamie Varner. Your knockout of the night goes to Eddie Wineland, and Danny Castillo, also a winner by first round knockout as he defeats Will Kerr. All right, now it is time to get it back to the award nominees for the MMA Live 2010 year-ending awards. We unveil the finalists for Knockout of the Year, and a whole lot to choose from here, guys. We're going to show you the nominees, and this was perhaps the toughest category. How about 11 nominees? You see some of them there. Takanori Gomi gets his first UFC win, and in style over Tyson Griffin. Way back in June, Rich Franklin against Chuck Liddell. My choice for Knockout of the Year, Carlos Condit against Dan Hardy. You see some late candidates as well. Paul Daly against Scott Smith. BJ Penn against Matt Hughes. You had the Gerald Harris slam as well. So, guys, a whole lot of choices here for Knockout of the Year. Mine was Carlos Condit. Who'd you give it to?
You know, I always like the knockouts when the guy goes face first into the canvas, and there was a couple of those. What was so impressive about the Gomi one was that he did it against a high-level fighter in Tyson Griffin and pulled it off. But, you know, in the end, I ended up going with Paul Daly. That knockout against Scott Smith was phenomenal. The precision and timing to go backwards and time that cross like he did against Scott Smith, who has been proven to have an iron jaw, was just very, very just amazing to watch.
Yeah. It did. It reminded me of Sugar Ray Robinson versus Gene Fullmer, that, you know, the perfect punch. Little
Not
Chad
an
Cook
easy
going
thing to do.
backwards.
Yeah,
amazing. I actually prefer the something out of a movie style knockout. So I took the Anthony Njokuani over Chris Hordesky. Hordesky was getting up off the ground, running away with his back turned, and in comes a flying roundhouse upside the head, all shin, that just flattened him. Amazing knockout.
All right, Knockout of the Year, one of the closest categories right now, so make sure you get to ESPN.com's MMA page and make yourself heard there. Now we will unveil the nominees for your Submission of the Year, and once again, hotly contested. I think a lot of people remember what Cole Miller did to Dan Lozon back at UFC 108. Of course, Anderson Silva pulling out the ridiculous submission there at the end of the fight to beat Chael Sonnen. Chris Lieben, Fabricio Verdum, of course, and Phil Davis, a little unorthodox there to beat Tim Boesch. Fellas, your choice for Submission of the Year?
You know, that's a tough category as well, guys. You know, I'm going to go with Verdum, just getting the submission over the amazing Fedor Emelianenko. To pull that off like he did in short fashion was very impressive.
You know, I hate to agree with you, Kenny, but I do, you know, because it was taken down the legend.
Yeah.
Fedor was invincible, indestructible, and Verdun made him tap out.
And guys, I think a lot of people have different criteria. You know, some people just look at the title fight. Anderson Silva loses 4.5 rounds and then pulls off a pretty standard submission, where you have other guys like Cole Miller pulling off a submission that you don't see every day, right?
Yeah, you know, the only thing with Anderson Silva, it was unbelievable, don't get me wrong, just the timing of it to pull it off against Chael Sonnen. But Sonnen's been caught with that in the past, so it was surprising, but it really wasn't that surprising.
Kind of his Achilles heel. Yeah, and for the stand-up knockout, I took the something out of a movie, so that's why I didn't pick Cole Miller for this.
That's good. And we should point out Fabricio Verdum also nominated for Upset of the Year. He goes head-to-head in that category against Frankie Edgar, so could very well be a landslide for Verdum there. All right, now we get to my favorite category. It is the Breakout Star of the Year in Mixed Martial Arts. And if you're wondering why John Jones is not nominated, it's because he won this thing last year. So among the nominees, Ben Askren, the new Bellator welterweight champion. How about Phil Davis? Makes the UFC debut and goes on to reel off 4 straight wins. Also Anthony Pettis, who has a lead at this point, we will tell you, a guy who burst onto the scene in 2010. Cole Conrad, the Bellator heavyweight champion, and George Sotiropoulos, perhaps no UFC lightweight, gained as much momentum in 2010 as the guy we call GST. So who is the breakout star for 2010?
You know, it's a good batch of fighters there, but I'm going to go with Anthony Pettis.
Yeah.
You know, not only is he beating guys, but he's doing it and just amazing fashion, pulling off the cage kicks. He's pulling off triangle chokes and arm locks. Just very, very exciting fighter to watch. And of course, he's fighting for 2011 for the belt, so it's gonna be great.
Could I sit there next time so I could give my answers first? I feel like I'm just copying off Kenny. But yes, I'm going with Anthony Pettis. He had such a great year, and he put the icing on the cake by winning the belt, by defeating the champion with a insane move, something like we've never seen. So Anthony Pettis, breakout fighter of the year.
And the answer is no, you can't sit there when Kenny is here. But we gave you the lead on the Fedor stuff, so at least we threw you a bone there.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, plenty more to come here on MMA Live. We will get to the nominees for Fighter of the Year. Is it Jose Aldo? He was our 2009 Fighter of the Year. What about Dominic Cruz? Frankie Edgar in the mix as well. George St. Pierre, Chris Lieben. Who's the Fighter of the Year? The reveal is straight ahead. This is MMA Live. Well, as expected, former light heavyweight champion Tito Ortiz will face Antonio Rogerio Nogueira his next time out, but the fight will not be in New Jersey at UFC 128. Instead, that's your main event at UFC Fight Night 24 in Seattle. It marks the UFC's first ever trip to Washington State. Also, quick update for you on Josh Koscheck. The UFC welterweight underwent surgery Monday in Boston to repair a broken orbital bone that was suffered in his December 11th loss to George St. Pierre. Sources telling ESPN.com that Koscheck may not be able to train at 100% for about 4 months. All right, now we reveal the nominees for MMA Live's 2010 Fighter of the Year. UFC featherweight champion Jose Aldo remains the best 145er in the world. The new UFC bantamweight champ Dominic Cruz, a perfect 3-0 in 2010. UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar beat BJ Penn in April, then did it again in August. Chris Lieben won 2 fights in 3 weeks, including a memorable fight of the night performance. A perennial nominee, George St. Pierre, total domination in 2 more successful title defenses. And Cardio Cain Velasquez defeats Brock Lesnar to become the new UFC heavyweight champion. Back inside our studios here, John, Anna, Kenny Florian, and Stephan Bonner. So you see the nominees. Who is your Fighter of the Year?
Well, there's a bunch of guys in there that definitely could win that. But I'm going to have to go with Frankie Edgar, and I'll tell you why. Out of all the people on that list, I think he has the most impressive resume. And he only fought one fighter this year, and that was BJ Penn. But to beat a BJ Penn who was at his best going into those fights, and he was in his prime, to beat him twice, to beat a legendary fighter like that, definitely he is Fight of the Year.
Wow, a lot of guys deserve this. I'm thinking George St. Pierre, but he's probably going to get Fighter of the Decade. So Fighter of the Year, thinking Albo, he defeated Faber and Gamburian, but in the end, I have to go with the Dominator, Dominic Cruz. He took out Bowles, Benavidez, Jorgensen, 3 title fights, 3 victories. Going with Dominic Cruz.
I'm with Florian there. You beat the greatest lightweight of all time and then do it again. I think Frankie Edgar is the Fighter of the Year. And if you want to vote, get to the ESPN.com MMA page and make yourself heard. Remember, we will reveal all of your choices for the MMA Live Year-End Awards on the award show. That is on January 6th. Also, a quick reminder, MMA Live, very active on Twitter. You can follow the show ESPN_MMA Live, and we also do a weekly chat for you. It's every Wednesday, the day before the show, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at ESPN.com. All right, one thing left to do, we tap out. All right, we begin the holiday tap out with a fact or fiction. Christmas 2011, Anthony Pettis will be the UFC lightweight champion.
I'm a big Pettis fan, but I'm going to go with fiction. I think style-wise, he has a tough matchup against either Gray Maynard or Frankie Edgar, so fiction.
Kenny, I'm going to have to disagree with you this time.
Whoa,
Kenny,
right.
you don't know diddly. I am hopping up on the Pettis bandwagon, and get ready for an exciting ride, everyone. You're going to see some Showtime come 2011.
Didn't you already get the Showtime kick tattooed on your inner arm before the show? We know you're all about this guy.
No, that's going up on my back, so it's exactly like Pettis's.
All right, next up, over under 12 short weeks before we see Dominic Cruz against Uriah Faber.
Man, I want to see this fight really badly. I know Cruz has a hand injury, but I'm going to go with under. I'm going to stay optimistic on this one.
I appreciate your optimism, Kenny, but I'm going to have to be a pessimist.
This guy just wants to disagree. He wants to disagree. That's it.
No, I mean, he just came off a 5-round war. Let the guy go get his hand surgery. Let's do it in over 12 weeks.
All right, we close it out with a buy or sell, but I don't have the question. They want Bonner to handle this one, so your mic is hot.
Taking it from here, John. Ready, buy or sell? 4 takedowns, 3 flying knees, 2 submission attempts, and a belt for Gray Maynard come January.
Wow, I hope we don't ask him to sing every show from here on out. I'm going to sell that because I think Frankie Edgar will retain the title. So that's a sell for me.
Wow, you know what? I'm going to sell everything but the belt. I think Gray Maynard's going to come away the winner. It's going to be a close one, but I think Gray is going to take this.
Well, I'm going to buy everything but the 3 flying knees from Gray Maynard. I agree with you for once, Kenny. I think Gray's going to pull it off. We're going to see him as the UFC lightweight champion.
All right, and if you're in Bristol on Christmas Eve, Bonner Christmas carols all day tomorrow in Bristol, Connecticut. That's going to do it from here. Next week, we preview UFC 125 up next on ESPN 2. It is the World Series of Poker, so until then, enjoy the holiday. We'll see you next week. Be safe and don't text and drive. We'll see you.